If you're in business, you're a presenter, whether you signed up for it or not. Training your team, pitching clients, running inductions, posting on YouTube or Instagram, maybe paid talks if that's your thing. And every single one of those lives or dies on the same three things: something to show while you speak, something that teaches, and something that they take away that keeps working on them after the room empties. Getting all three used to mean a web team, an agency invoice, or weeks of your own late nights. I got all three in one evening with AI for the price of subscriptions I already pay. And I'm going to show you the actual thing, not a demo, the real asset a room full of founders got. Full walkthrough. Let's go. Before we get into it, the exact workflows, tools, prompts, and the order to run them in is in the first link in the description below. Free, no opt-in, no hoops. Grab it now so it's waiting for you when we're done. AI built this overnight. Here's why I can say that with a straight face. I'm founder of Presence Property Concierge. Employ roughly 45 people. It's about to grow with another acquisition we're making. And I'm not a full-time soft developer. I don't have an internal web department just sitting around waiting for the next job. Whatever I'm about to show you, you can do this too. Last week, I gave a 90-minute AI talk at an EO forum, Entrepreneurs Organization, a room full of 7 and 8 figure founders. It was an intimate group, and the talk was called Highest and Best Use. It's a property and engineering term used for the most valuable thing that you can do with an asset, even if that asset is talent or your time. The talk itself was about scaling with AI, but this episode isn't about my talk. It's about what the talk became, because whatever you present to 5 staff or 5,000 followers, this is the part that you're probably missing right now. So from weeks to one night. Because here's what it used to look like. You give the talk, someone films it on a phone, the file sits in a folder. 3 weeks later, you think, I should do something with that. You brief a web agency, 4 to 6 weeks later, 10 grand plus, easily. I've paid those invoices more than once. Revisions go backwards and forwards, and by the time you've got anything ready to ship, the moment's kind of gone. Nobody cares about a talk from 2 months ago, including you. So most people don't bother. The talk stays trapped in the room, and weeks of thinking behind it earn nothing more from then on. Here's what happened instead. One talk, 4 assets. So this is the site, a live URL, hosted free on Netlify, built the night before I gave the talk. There's 18 slides. So the actual deck, but rebuilt as an interactive site. Now you can arrow through them like a presentation. And up top, you'll see that there's watch the full talk, all 90 minutes of it, recorded on the day just on my iPhone, almost as a backup just to capture it. But here's my favorite bit. Every single slide has a watch this bit button. Down the bottom right, it's kind of a bit behind where my picture is at the moment. You can watch just a little bit.
So the thing to assess now is slide matrix.
Okay, so that's like a little phone screen that's on every slide. You click it and you get to watch the exact moment of the talk where I'm speaking to that slide. The video's been chopped to match the deck, slide by slide. This was all done with prompting. And then there's the listen page, the whole talk as chaptered audio. So you can press play in the car, on a walk, at the gym, or download the MP3s and keep them.
So the thing to assess now is slide matrix. So there's just an XY axis on this, and it's just like effort and impact. So we've got to look at effort as far as how much bandwidth, financial resources, time, project management, risk of it going wrong is involved in doing this thing. And you don't have to get ASC yourself when you get iterated that way.
So I'm adjusting the speed there as well, just like you can on the modern players on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. at the moment. Now, I'll be straight with you here about the timeline because it's actually the best part of the whole thing. Not all of this existed on the talk day. Stay with me. So 1 talk, 4 assets, a site, a video, a clip library, and audio to go. The site shipped overnight before the talk. The video and audio layers were added in the days after because the site's not static, it's alive. You just keep feeding it. Here's the exact build, step by step in 5 steps. Step 1, dump the talk in. So for step 1, you need the inputs. And this started before the talk was even written. A week out, I sent everyone that was going to come 3 questions. Give us your name and your business, something that you've already done with AI that actually worked, and something that you'd love to do with AI next, but you haven't figured it out yet. Now, these are entrepreneurs I'm talking about. They're busy, 7 and 8 figure companies. I didn't expect these back straight away, and I had contingency in case I needed it. Those answers landed about lunchtime the day before. I didn't get to my laptop until that evening. I was tired, I was flat, I was not exactly in peak creativity, which is kind of the point. Now, I'd done thinking of the talk prior, but without those answers, I couldn't customize it, and I wanted to make it a one-of-one presentation, so it felt like it was for that room and each individual in it. I dumped a lot into Claude. My talk routine, the survey answers, raw with no major brief. I gave it example documents of other stuff that I had done recently for my internal training library in my business, of which this was one of the sites that I gave it, Win It Before You Walk In, which is helping our team win more business in the first appointment through a good warm-up process. And it's got podcasts in it as well. In this case, I used NotebookLM podcasts.
So walking into a high stakes listing appointment, it usually feels a bit like walking into a final exam where you haven't even seen the syllabus, right?
Yeah, you're sweating, guessing.
So I gave it a lot of context, a lot of reference of work that I'd already done, but I didn't manicure every single little detail of it. Now for this, I used the top model, Claude Fable 5. But this kind of work, it's the difference between technically a website and something that you'd happily put your name on, like I'm doing now. I also didn't have time to go back and iterate a lot. It was going in as I was going to bed, and I needed it to be right for the morning. Now, one thing I've learned on this is don't clean your inputs up too much, especially on these really smart models like Fable 5. The mess is the context. And if you've got a second brain like Obsidian and you're collecting a lot of transcriptions like I do with my Cloud audio recorder, that helps even more. The model will work out what matters. So step 2, it built the site. And here's the twist. The site is the deck. Real code, not a template, not a site builder, not a drag and drop. 18 slides as a website. And the next day, I stood up in front of the room and presented straight from the live URL. My job was taste and flow, not typing. I said things like, make it feel like the room felt. I want explainer diagrams, less corporate, less slide decky, more like a launch page. I asked it for my video to be smaller on the screen because it was really just about capturing it. It wasn't about me, it was about the content itself. But by having me talking through it, each chapter like that, it made it feel like they were more back in the room again. I didn't tidy the audio up for the same reason. And I didn't use the NotebookLM perfect podcast setup. I used my own talk because they wanted the words that I said rather than someone else's take on it. They just wanted to remember it and be able to action it and take it away. I got requests from every person that was there just to send them the notes, and I delivered this instead, which was pretty cool. Now, I dictate everything. I use Whisperflow. Now, you see here from my Whisperflow insights, like I'm a power user of Whisperflow. I speak at 151 words a minute, which puts me in the top 0.1% globally for users. You see I've done 1.7 million words dictated, saved 137,000 errors. 77% of everything I do on Whisperflow is an AI prompt. And look how little of it is emails, 3%. Most of the stuff I do is from desktop. These insights are actually really fun if you have one of these accounts yourself. Definitely worth checking out. Now, because of those 3 survey questions, the back of the deck had a personalized slide for every single business in the room. Their name, where they're at with AI, and exactly where I'd point it first in their business. This is stuff that you can't really buy from an agency, even in 4 to 6 weeks. It was built in one evening by a bloke who was cooked on the couch. And then the follow-up was done in one gigantic Whisperflow prompt. Step 3, images. This is where most DIY sites sort of fall over. They either look like stock photo soup or they've got nothing visual at all. And then there's that signature AI look that you see with that sort of black and the purple kind of gradient. And even if they're good sites, everyone kind of judges them as being AI slop. So for this one, I used Nano Banana, Google's image model for the visuals. Now, the best thing about this is you can still use it from Claude Code with the API key for Google's Gemini. I've got a Nano Banana skill that I have loaded up into Claude Code, and then I just describe what I want, and it does it for me on demand. Matched to the style of the site, no stock library, no licensing, no hunting through Unsplash for the least worst option. You describe what the page needs, it makes it. If it's wrong, you say why, and 30 seconds later, there's another version that completely truthful here, I did not change the visuals once. I was happy with the first output. And by the way, the sketches and the diagrams you've been seeing in this episode, that's the same tool. That's what it looks like. Now, step 4, the video layer. Now, this was added after the talk because the site's alive and you just keep feeding it. Now, quick story about the recording because it nearly died. I had my tripod with me for when I'm out filming brand content, and I just filmed the talk on my iPhone and a tripod with no mic plugged in, nothing fancy. The room just needed something to take away. And the talk was booked for an hour plus questions. It ended up running 90 minutes. It was a good talk. Well, a very engaged audience. But during that time, the phone went flat mid-talk. It wasn't on charge. We were sort of working in a room that hadn't had a lot of hi-fi usage in it for a while, and we were just using what we had available. We didn't want to kill the vibe by stuffing around with that too long. But what saved it was the little AI recorder I had hanging around my neck. This thing. It's a Plaud, P-L-A-U-D, or Claude, sort of like applaud, but I find it easier to say Plaud. Claude keeps thinking I'm saying Claude. They're about $400 delivered in Australia and about $60 a month for the unlimited plan. I have this on from when I wake up to when I go to bed, minus only a couple of little things where I might turn it off for privacy or whatever. It caught the whole thing, audio and the full transcript. And that audio got overlaid straight over the dead section. So a catastrophic failure down to a footnote. 2 devices, always. It's the cheapest insurance that you'll ever buy on 90 minutes of your best thinking. I learned that lesson when I launched a project of 116 apartments years back for Presence Projects, and we had an unbelievable talk by the founder of the building company. It was one of the most gripping and compelling talks ever, and we had a local video company there, filmed the whole thing, and then the file got corrupted and we lost 100% of it. It was devastating. Now, this iPhone video, which was only rough, it got chopped into the deck slide by slide. That's what the watch this bit button is all about. Now, it sounds small, but it's the thing everyone comments on. Nobody rewatches a 90-minute talk end to end unless it's some kind of booked in training. But they do want the information that's out of there. And I found this with training our team of BDMs and field agents. They're busy people. 15 minutes is about the most you'll get. So I try and make my chapters all 5 to 15 minutes. Everyone's happy to click on the 50-second bit about the exact idea they're standing on and then listen to a couple of minutes either side. And I can tell you now, if you're doing this, it's definitely the way to go. Now, how did I upload that video? On my phone, while I was there, I just uploaded it to a Dropbox folder and I let it upload in the background. And you know, it can take quite a while when you've got a reasonably high-res video on a phone, going to a cloud folder. By the time I was back at my desk, I was able just to then grab the Dropbox link and drag it into the same session that I'd built the talk on in Claude Code and just make that part of the context for what I was going to build into the take-home site. Step 5, audio they can take anywhere. Now, this whole talk went up as chaptered audio. Press play in the car, on a walk, at the gym, or you can download the MP3s and just keep them on any device. I used my actual voice for this one deliberately because the room got a talk built specifically for them. And for a tailored audience, your real voice can sometimes beat the generated one. But you can go much further. Watch this. So this is what I was showing you earlier. So we have internal training sites at Presence and they're pretty detailed, but like I deliberately make them in chapters and quite visual for the team. I'll give you an example. There's the preparation that we do before an appointment and like it's got a prompt in there for Perplexity AI so they can do client research and come in more prepared, how to do the warm-up call, all that sort of stuff, right? And then they have these little audio snacks that the team have been giving me really good feedback on. They're like 5 to 15 minute little audios, but they're actually made by NotebookLM. Now, the audio here is a 2-host podcast generated completely by AI. Now, there is a free version of this. I'm on the paid version. I called it all from the API key as well through Claude Code, but you can do it independently in the Google platform if you prefer. I prefer to work in the developer console and just have it linking back to Claude. It's my favorite interface. So it's 2 hosts that I had never had to hire, having a genuinely good conversation about our material. And they summarize, they push on ideas, and they connect things together. You can speed it up as well or download it.
It usually feels a bit like walking into a final exam where you haven't even seen the syllabus of this 10-minute prep. I mean, how?
Okay, so that'll give you a bit of an idea of it. For a broad audience, like training guides, onboarding, anything evergreen, the format is unbelievable. It's an unfair advantage. And if you want a full episode on building an audio training guide like this for your business with the visuals and the website where you can keep all the scripts and stuff like that, or how we do things around here kind of stuff, just tell me in the comments and I'll make it for you. Now, here's why this matters beyond one website. The bottleneck has moved. You could almost say it's been removed. Like the production, just planning something out, used to take a lot of ideation, possibly weeks of leading up on the project. You'd have agencies, there'd be invoices, there'd be further waiting, and you often end up shipping something that you're not happy with. Well, that's gone now. Production is roughly free and roughly instant on a relative scale. The new bottleneck is deciding what deserves to exist. Judgment, taste, knowing what's worth making. which is literally what my talk was about. Highest and best use. Like, your highest and best use is not fiddling with fonts. It's the thinking. The machine handles the making. Now, if you're in a high ticket sales arena like financial services, immigration, real estate, buyer's advocacy, then you can swap out conference talk or training presentation for your listing presentation, your proposal, your pitch. It could also be like a market update, an annual review for your investor clients, or even for your board. Every one of those can become a site, a video library, and a podcast now. Same 5 steps. The founders, the real estate agents, the public speakers who've worked this out first are going to look like they've had a media company behind them. Of course they do. It just doesn't sleep. And it's not all human. It's augmented. I love having human in the loop. I don't expect everything to be autonomous and agents doing it all on its own. But let's get them to do the stuff that we don't like doing, that takes a lot of time and often costs too much money to even bother trying. If you want the exact workflow, the tools, the prompts, the order I run them in, it's the first link in the description. It's free. There's no opt-in. There's no hoops. Take it and go and build something awesome. Every week on this channel, I document how I'm actually using AI to run and scale Presence Property Concierge to 250 million in enterprise value. This is a real live build in public, and I hope this stuff is valuable for you. Real builds, real numbers, no lab coat. Next week, I'm showing you something that might be even more confronting. Half of my editing team is AI now, even how this exact video got made. So why don't you subscribe if you're not already? That way you won't miss it. See you on the next episode of Flow Zone.